Meeting will come to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cook.
Here.
Councilman Kugler.
Here.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Here.
Councilman Rodriguez.
Here.
Council President Sedekis.
Here. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the
flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to, if everyone could stand, please, I'd like to have a moment of silence for former Fire Chief Jack Ficker, please. Thank you. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members on August 8, 2003, and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Before I open it to the public, I'm just going to do, my colleagues and myself are going to do our very best to move the meeting along as quick as we can due to the power outage problem. There's areas in town up in the north that people are still out of power, and we'll do our very best, okay? So with that, a motion to open the meeting to the public.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, can I just indulge in making a statement so that I can inform the public by the time they get this, they know
Yes.
what's going on? By the time you view this meeting, of course, many of you will be back from vacation. We are experiencing tonight an emergency blackout in the whole eastern seaboard. Much of the power as we speak tonight is back on. I just want to commend our police, fire, and ambulance corps personnel who responded efficiently and effectively to any emergency call. We do have a plan in place. That plan is being activated, and right now everything is operating fairly well. We have some areas that are still out in the north end of town, and hopefully that'll be back on before the midnight hour. So with that said, also, I'd like to make mention that, again, by the time this program is aired on SBC TV, that the Mayhill Street Bridge will be opened. It'll be opened well before school opens. It'll be opened before Labor Day. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the public for supporting me on this and working with me to get this project underway as quickly as we were able to get it. As we speak today, the bridge is going to be surfaced. We did travel over the bridge today, so it's just a matter of fine-tuning before the Labor Day comes around. So I want to thank everybody in that area of town who had to put up with the noise and the inconvenience, but it is going to be a major improvement for the township. With that said, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairman.
Anyone wishing to be heard? Mr. Burke.
Good evening, Vic Cabrera, 590 Hickory Avenue. Given the situation tonight, I'm going to keep my power dry and save it for next meeting, okay? That's one thing. My wife and I just celebrated our 50th anniversary. Yeah, that's it. And the reason we lasted that long, actually, we made an agreement when we got married that anytime one of us would start an argument, the other one would leave the house and go for a long walk.
That's why you're
And that's why I'm so, that's why I look so healthy. I've been walking ever since, you know.
Every second Thursday of the month, right?
Yeah. But actually, it doesn't matter because there's two kind of married men, in case you didn't know. Those who are henpecked and the liars. And I haven't told a lie in 50 years now. All right. Just one question on this ordinance 2012-8903. I'm kind of flabbergasted about this. We are appropriating $330,000 to rehabilitate a school ballpark. I mean, that's what I read over here. Please explain to me, because.
No, Mr. Cabrera, that's a bond ordinance that we had in effect a couple years back. And this is an amendment to that, to just transfer the balance of the money for the project to move to a different field. At one time, we were going to put the baseball field at the high school, so now we're going to put that money towards the Sampson Street property for recreation.
Oh, okay, so it has nothing to do with,
Nothing additional.
okay, because the way I read over here, I was kind of
That's
confused, yeah. Okay, thank you, that'll be all.
Thank you. Anyone else? Motion closed? Second? All in favor? Aye.
Mr. Chairman, if I could too, just very briefly and very quickly make an announcement that we should be very proud of Councilman Omar Rodriguez, who was appointed by the governor on the ethnic board as a commissioner for the state of New Jersey. It's a very big step for Saddle Brook to be recognized on a state level as we have over the past few months. That type of cooperation with the governor's office and our state legislators enabled us not only to get Omar Rodriguez appointed to the commission, but also the state aid that we received to help reduce our tax burden for the township. So with that, I'd like to congratulate Omar Rodriguez for a good job that I know you're going to do, Omar. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Omar, I'd like to echo those comments. I wish you good luck. Congratulations.
Good luck, congratulations.
Thank you, everybody.
Are you getting paid for this?
No, I'm gonna get reimbursed for tolls and mileage, I guess.
But what I'm asking you, if you're not getting paid for it, can we bill them for your services?
You sure you do? And actually, an honor to do this type of job, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna do well, and I'm gonna put the town on the map of the state of New Jersey, and I want to thank you for your support. And I'm pretty sure that I'm going to still be working hard for the town, which is my priority, but I'm also going to do well at the state. Thank you all for your support.
Okay, first,
You're late.
Yes, I know,
First-
and I'm sorry.
first ordinance 1285-03, an ordinance authorizing the imposition of a municipal hotel and motel occupancy tax as authorized by Public Law 2003, C-114. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Kugler?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazer?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Sedekis?
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the imposition of a municipal hotel and motel occupancy tax as authorized by Public Laws 2003, Chapter 114.
Motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman?
Can I just make, oh, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, too, as I can speak on this hotel tax, it's very important for us as a township also, and I'll be very brief because I know we have a little bit of an emergency out there, to impose this hotel tax, and we're grateful to the state to do this. This is one of the areas where we're going to start to build our surplus. So when we took office, as you, or many of you know, we started with a $900,000 deficit, and we had no surplus. There was no surplus in our account. It was deplenished. It was a pay me now, pay me later type of a budget that we had over the past several years. One that's very frustrating for me because I had to prepare the budget for this year. Councilman Cougar and myself have been crying from the highest mountaintop about these budgets in the past, and they now have come to fruition. We now have to pay. This is going to help the township tremendously with a surplus that is desperately needed, a surplus that we are looking to earmark specifically for that, so that we do have money in the bank, and no matter what mayor, who the mayor is, who sits in this seat, will never have to experience the experience we had to come at January 1st when we took office. So this is a very important ordinance for this township and for many townships throughout the state. And the 1% now will now generate into a 3% starting next year. So the revenues are going to come into the township, and hopefully with that revenues, we'll be able to maintain a steady cash flow for the township and not burden the taxpayers. Again, I want to make this mention to the public so that they're aware of what we are doing to take corrective action here in the township. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If I may, on the same line, I believe that all of us have been working hard to get this, and thanks to the governor of the state. He's just giving some relief to all the small towns like ours. Back then in February, I believe that I was presenting an ordinance to do the hotel tax, but when I contacted state officials, they told me to just wait, and they kept their word. and I believe they passed it. It's gonna help us, and as I share some numbers with you guys, just in the first year, it's gonna help our surplus by $225,000. Then next year, at 3% is gonna help us in roughly on $700,000 on a occupancy rate of 75%, which I believe that we're thankful to the governor and the state legislators. We couldn't do it without the help of all the council members right here, so I believe that we are doing great in order to move the town move forward. I just want to make a comment. I know that we made a resolution that all this money, all these revenues will go into surplus. As far as I know, as long as I sit in this board, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a political year. Whoever wants to touch the money from the surplus is going to have a tough time touching that money because they're going to be dedicated for surplus. Surplus means emergencies or any unforeseen things that might happen in town. And it is a shame that the former administration have depleted the surplus, leaving us orphans, that if anything might have happened, we didn't have money to cover those expenses. So I hope that that never happens again. Thank you.
All I can say, it's about time the state of New Jersey woke up to the fact that we should charge a hotel and state tax. And all the traveling I've done, and many of us have done here, you pay anywhere from 7 to 10 to 12% in any other state. And I'm glad that the state finally came about and passed a resolution and ordinance to charge the tax to help out the towns that have the hotels.
Can I say something, please? Back in 1968, Saddle Brook passed a law taxing hotels under Ben Malenchik, who was the mayor at that time. And we had a Republican-controlled council, and I think Kenny Shipiola was the only Democrat on that council. And we all voted unanimously in favor of that. After passing that and trying to enact it, the state told us we couldn't do it. The only town that was allowed in 1968 or thereafter was Atlantic City. So it took almost, how many years? 30 years before they realized it. So it's about time, because we've been paying, and a special thanks to the fire department, because the fire department's been going there almost on a weekly basis for false alarms, because their sprinkling system went off or some kind of alarm went off. And we never even collected a dime for all those false alarms, because they're supposed to pay fines, but every time we find them, it's rejected for some reason or other. But now it's about time we get some money back. Thank you.
That's it. Okay, our next ordinance. Oh, I'm sorry, anyone wishing to be heard on that ordinance?
Motion for
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the imposition of a municipal hotel and motel occupancy tax as authorized by Public Law 2003, Chapter 114, is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion moved and second. All in favor? Aye. Next ordinance number 2, ordinance 1286-03, a bond ordinance to authorize construction of a new police department headquarters in by and for the Township of Saddle Brook, the County of Bergen, New Jersey, appropriate the sum of $2,100,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate a state grant, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
So moved.
Second?
comment. Later on during the meeting, not now, I'm going to introduce a resolution to correspond with this pertaining to lot coverage. Saddle Brook has a town ordinance that prohibits anything more than 30% of lot coverage. Unfortunately or fortunately for us, I think we must have a resolution waivering that for the Saddle Brook Police Department, and I'll give a number of reasons. First of all, under the 1990 ADA Act, where handicap accessible falls into play, you have corridors, hallways, bathrooms, and so forth that have to be minimum of 4 feet or 36 inches plus space for the people to get out of a wheelchair. I'm going to propose that we have a minimum lot coverage for the building for at least 35%, and do not include blacktopping the area, because I understand when the police department will build this, there's another law that says that we have to drive underneath to take the prisoners out to go into the police department. If that is so, it's going to be almost impossible for us to adhere to this 30% lot coverage. And I know the township is exempt from planning and zoning board from this, and I also understand that we go as a formality before the planning board to present our plans formally to them, to the extent of what we're doing. But I want the general public to know it's not intended that Saddle Brook is above the law. It's just that we should do this in this case. It is a municipal building. It is going to be public accessible. And because of that, the 88 Act of 1990 comes into play, and I'm afraid that if we reduce the coverage, there might be some serious problems. And when we're paying $200 to $250 a foot for this building, we should do it right the first time and not add on or do what we have to do. So it should be done right the first time. Nothing to do with this ordinance, but I want people to be aware that once this ordinance is passed, somewhere during this meeting, I will entertain that as a resolution. Thank you.
I'll make a comment. Just make a comment? I'll just like to make a comment before we vote on this. I believe that it's very important. It's a long overdue project. And you guys know me by now. I'm trying to look every single expense, every single number that comes to this board. By the same token, I believe that the police department is a long overdue project, and that's what I'm so vigorously trying to push for this project, because this is the lowest interest rates in the history. It is a little almost under 1%, and we cannot let pass by this opportunity. So this later on will be recognized by the town, because no matter when we do it, if we would do it now, 5 years later, 10 years later, it's going to cost us tons of money, but right now is the right time to do it. So that's what I believe that the police department need, the new headquarters, and actually it's just for the well-being and safety of the residents, not just the police officers, but also of the residents. And the conditions that police department is, I don't think that is any safety for the residents of this community. Therefore, I'm strongly going to go for it, and as much money as they might need on that police department, I'm for it, because I would like to have pretty soon a new police department. And I want to commend the mayor and all the council members for trying to put all their efforts on trying to build this new police headquarters. Thank you.
This has been long overdue. I've been on the council now roughly 6 years. And I don't know how many times we've had to repair the roof and replace some of the structure. And we've also lost some of the equipment from the rainstorms. So I'm glad that this is going forth, and I'll be happy when this is all over with and taken care of, and we have the new home for the police department, and then we can get on with other things in the community. Thank you.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazer?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Settekis?
Yes.
A bond ordinance to authorize construction of a new police department headquarters in by and for the Township of Saddle Brook in the County of Bergen, New Jersey. Appropriate the sum of $2,100,000 and pay the cost thereof. Appropriate a state grant to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Motion. So moved. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Meeting, this ordinance is open to the public. Anyone wishing to comment? Motion to close. So moved. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, I want to thank each and every one of the council members, yourself included, to thank you for supporting me with this project. You know, this is something that we've been talking about for quite some time, and I want to really thank each and every one of you for supporting me on this. The township will benefit by having this new police department, 100%. And I really want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, just to the members of the police department, the chief, like I said last month, we totally support your police department. We support what you do. You make the community proud, and we'll do our best to get this thing done quickly. Thank you.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that the ordinance entitled, I'm sorry, we did that.
Yes.
Next ordinance, 1287-03, an ordinance amending chapter 206 entitled a Mount Laurel Housing Overlay Zone of the Code of the Township of Saddle Brook. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
An ordinance amending Chapter 206 entitled a Mount Laurel Housing Overlay Zone of the Code of the Township of Saddle Brook.
So moved.
Second, open to the public. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to be heard? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 206 entitled a Mount Laurel Housing Overlay Zone of the Code of the Township of Saddle Brook is now passed on second and final reading. And that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance accordingly.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next ordinance. First reading, 1288-03, bond ordinance to authorize the undertaking of various sanitary sewer system improvements and the acquisition of a sewer and water line camera inspection equipment and a related vehicle in by for the Township of Saddle Brook, the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey. Appropriate the sum of $250,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes and anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that a bond ordinance to authorize the undertaking of various sanitary sewer system improvements and the acquisition of sewer and water line camera inspection equipment and a related vehicle in by and for the Township of Saddle Brook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $250,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, heretofore passed on first reading, and further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 11th day of September, 2003, at 7:00 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next ordinance, first reading, 1289-03, a bond ordinance to amend section 1 of the bond ordinance, ordinance number 1264-02, entitled Bond Ordinance to authorize the refurbishing of the high school athletic field in by and for the Township of Saddle Brook, in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $330,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to appropriate state and county grants, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes and anticipation of the issuance of such bonds adopted November 14, 2002. Motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that a bond ordinance to amend section 1 of the bond ordinance, ordinance number 1264-02, entitled Bond Ordinance to authorize the refurbishing of the high school athletic field in by and for the Township of Saddle Brook in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $330,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to appropriate state and county grants, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds adopted November 14, 2002, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 11th day of September, 2003, at 7:00 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next ordinance, first reading, ordinance 1290-03, an ordinance repealing Chapter 174, Article 1 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddle Brook, enacting the street excavation ordinance of the Township of Saddle Brook. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to make a comment on that. Real quick, I believe that this ordinance is long overdue. What this ordinance is going to do is going to stop the public utilities companies from doing the kind of mess that they have been doing for so many years in town. This is a way to protect our investment in the roads. Basically, we don't want to see any more patches like the ones that are in Saddle River Road. This will protect all our streets. Whoever open it will have to live in the same conditions that they found it. And I believe that this is going to protect us, it's going to help us to enforce and to make pay the public utility companies or whoever open our roads to live it in the same conditions, if not better. So I hope that it's going to pass with no problems, but again, I believe that this is an important ordinance. Thank you.
Councilman, just so that the public is aware also that the roadway from Saddle River, on Saddle River Road, from Rochelle Parkway to Market Street, or Railroad Avenue, where it was dug up for the gas line, the emergency gas line, will be repaved. We've already contacted the county engineers. They will repave half the roadway to the condition it was before they did dig it up. So I just want to relay that information to the public and to the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that an ordinance repealing Chapter 174, Article 1, Township Code of the Township of Saddle Brook, and enacting the street excavation ordinance of the Township of Saddle Brook, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 11th day of September 2003 at 7 o'clock p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And that at such time and place, all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next ordinance number 7, first reading, ordinance 1291-03. An ordinance to amend and supplement the code of the Township of Saddle Brook, to amend and supplement Chapter 5 entitled Administration of Government, Chapter 33 entitled Police Department. Motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that an ordinance to amend and supplement the code of the Township of Saddle Brook to amend and supplement Chapter 5 entitled Administration of Government and Chapter 33 entitled Police Department heretofore passed on first reading be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 11th day of September 2003 at 7 o'clock p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
That's the last ordinance.
Okay, yeah. Tell you what we're going to do is have the consent agenda being passed.
Right.
I'd like to pull out, if we can, resolution number 2, so the people understand what we're trying to do. We're getting grants for the police department, and then I will introduce a verbal resolution, number 15, for a separate vote, so everybody aware and can add to what I say, just in case you know. I'm going to pull number 2 and read separately, and then I will introduce by word, resolution 15.
If I can.
Yes.
Number 8, I can vote with the section or something else, or I can pull it out, the bill.
Resolution 9.
No, the 8.
8 and 9?
No, just 8 and 11.
Okay. So 8 will be off the consent agenda. Resolution 9 will be on. Misunderstood. I thought you
Hold on, it was- I'm sorry, it was 9. I'm sorry, it was 9.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless the council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. One motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receipt of file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of applications and minutes.
Let me, you gotta read it.
Yes, let's pull up the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 2, be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook wishes to enter into a grant agreement with the County of Bergen for the purpose of using $250,000 in 2003 Community Development Block Grant funds for barrier-free improvements to police headquarters at 73 Market Street, Saddle Brook, New Jersey. Be it further resolved that the Township Council hereby authorizes the Township Clerk to be a signatory to the aforesaid grant agreement. Be it further resolved that the Township Council hereby authorizes the Mayor and Township Clerk to sign all county vouchers submitted in connection with the aforesaid project. Be it further resolved that the Township Council recognizes that the Township of Saddle Brook is liable for any funds not spent in accordance with grant agreements. The liability of the Mayor and Council is in accordance with HUD requirements.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Comment. I'd like to make a comment at this time, and I'd like to thank all those who participated in obtaining this grant. We know that we're building a new police department. We know it's going to be a very expensive building, and therefore, as many grants as we can get shall help us to lower the cost of this building. After this is passed, I want to introduce another resolution, and I'll talk at that time, so you just don't get carried on. But we are trying, for all those in the audience and at home, to get as many grants as we can, because we all know it's an expensive building. So this $250,000 is going to at least put an elevator in that building that we, the taxpayers, don't have to pay. So John and who's ever with you on their grants, please continue to try to get as much as we can, and in my opinion, earmark them all for the police department, at least for this year, to get this thing open.
Thank you, Ed.
If I could just add to that too, to this date, we've received almost $700,000 in grant monies earmarked just for the police department, with another $30,000 coming from Senator Caniglio's efforts down at the state. So it's been very productive, and to date, I think the public should know also that we have received overall, not only for the police department, but overall, approximately $780,000 in grant monies that we will utilize for the township's infrastructure improvements, parks, recreation. So we're moving along with the grants, and we intend to use every penny of it for the betterment of the community.
Thank you.
Resolution number 9 is the bill list. Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook, County of Bergen, the State of New Jersey, that the proper warrants be drawn and that the attached bills, with the exception of those bills not approved by a majority of the council, be paid totaling $2,966,133.77, providing funds are available, and all bills submitted comply with NJSA 4811-1 and any other appropriate statutes.
Motion? Second? Roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, with the exception of purchase order 41802, page 1. I don't have the other PO number because it's a hole in there, but it's, the vendor is KO134, Coker, $1,470. The other PO number, the purchase order is 41892. Thank you.
And Mr. Sotis.
Yes.
Next resolution is resolution number 11. Prepared by Councilman Cook. Whereas the growth of Teterboro Airport, located in the boroughs of Teterboro and Moonachie, is cause of increasing concern among the residents of Bergen County. Whereas the location of an airport in the middle of the most densely populated region in the state of New Jersey has had an adverse impact on the quality of life of Bergen County residents. And whereas there exists noise, pollution, and safety issues that need to be addressed by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey as the management of Teterboro Airport. Whereas in response to those concerns, a coalition of 15 municipalities formed to serve as opposition to the expansion of services and aircraft at the airport. Whereas since terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, there has arisen an increased sensitivity to the risk of an active airport in the middle of Bergen County. Whereas the safety, health, and quality of life issues are not exclusive to any particular municipality for any single region in Bergen County. Whereas there is need to strengthen the voice of the municipalities, providing opposition to and oversight of the airport and services at Teterboro Airport. Whereas all Bergen County's 70 municipalities are affected by the operation of Teterboro Airport. Now therefore be resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook does hereby join the coalition of health and public safety to give voice in a unified manner to the hundreds of thousands of Bergen County residents who are directly impacted by the hazards caused by the continued operation and expansion of the Teterboro Airport. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the County of Bergen and the offices of Congressman Steve Rothman, Congressman Scott Garrett, Senator Joseph Caniglio, Assemblyman Matt Ahern, and Assemblywoman Rose Herring.
So moved. Second?
Question? No. Go ahead, go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Question? I would like to know how much it's gonna cost us to join that coalition. I didn't have enough information on this resolution. Be surprised with that.
Not that I have heard.
I just did some research and just to be part of the coalition, you start with $5,000. And recently it's an issue because the $5,000 did not cover the legal expenses so far to be fighting against the Port Authority. So I would like, as much as I like the resolution, I would like to have more information and make sure that it's not going to burden the town with expenses. So if you can just be more maybe informative and give me some more information, and I'm really happy to pass this, but I would like to know if any expenses, as far as I know, is going to cost us just to begin with $5,000 to just be part of the coalition. So I just leave you with that question.
There's nothing been in any of the information I've gotten, any price, any announcement on anything.
No, as it is, I need more information to vote on some of the
Right,
things.
that's one way,
But
right.
if it's going to cost us money, I think that we should know that if you're going to approve something like that, you're going to approve contingent that we're not going to pay anything. If it's like John is saying, that it's not going to cost us a penny. When you did not pass a resolution, indeed it's going to create us some cost to the town, because we didn't even budget those monies for that type of coalition. Even as far as I know, I love the idea, but if it's going to cost us money, I want to know ahead of time how much it's going to cost me. Then we'll think, is it worth it or not?
All right, I'll do it quick. I'd like to introduce a resolution exempting the new Saddle Brook Police Department from its lot coverage of 30%. I don't want to put a minimum of 35 or whatever, I just want to exempt them completely, because I'll have to leave this up to the architect of how he's going to place that building. But I want to exempt us from the lot coverage of 30%, including blacktop wherever it's necessary. That's my resolution, I'll make it simple. And I'll just explain again what I'm talking about. We're paying anywhere from $200 to $260 a foot to build a building. This is based on numbers that the Board of Education has expressed to build their building, and that was a year ago. So I'm assuming it's the same. But even at that, it's very expensive, and what that number comes up to, I have no idea yet till we figure what it's going to build. However, that gentleman with the beard said it the last time, you're coming late, so you're naughty. He said, do it now because everything is low, do it. We are going to do it. Not based on your say-so, but we're doing it anyway. But I want to make sure it's done right the first time rather than go crazy with this darn thing. And I don't want the residents to feel that we're insulting them or looking down at them, that they can't have more than 30% coverage, which they can if they go to the zoning board or planning board. We're exempt from this, and I don't want to put it in the hands of someone that's going to get political, say, it's got to be, it doesn't have to be. We are exempt, but I want to make it open, so we're not hiding nothing. We're not covering it. We know it's going to be a very expensive building. We know that certain laws come into the ADA of Act of 1990, which represents an architect problem that he's got to make everything larger. The parking lot, we know, has to be blacktop. I don't want to get into a situation where someone comes in and says, pave it with these here nice blocks, because then we're getting a beautiful parking lot with my car that leaks oil, and we got problems with it. So blacktop is probably the best. But I don't want to say we should be excessive to hurt our neighbors, so this is no intent to hurt the neighbors, that we're going to put water in their backyard or so forth. It's just a precautionary measure that the architect have a free hand of putting up a building, whether it's 30% coverage or 40% coverage, or whatever he may come into it. And I don't want to have to explain later on that, yes, we're going to put blacktop because there's a law, which I never knew, that you got to drive underneath the police department so the convicts or terrorists or whoever they lock up has to stay out of the rain. But that's the modern society, I guess. So I appreciate if we vote on this. However, I just sprung it on the council this evening at 7 o'clock, so please, if there's any questions, I'll answer the best I can. You want to add anything to the resolution,
No.
be my guest.
I'm in favor of that. If I could just add, all in favor?
Aye.
If I can just add for the public's information, normally our public meetings start at 7 o'clock. September, next month, we're going to start at 6 o'clock to have a special hour to concentrate on the police department with the drawings. I know the mayor, I believe you're inviting the architect to come in.
Yeah, if I could just elaborate on that, Mr. President. On September 11th at 6 o'clock, we are going to have a special meeting here starting an hour early. The architect will be here with the drawings. The chief and I have been working for the last 6 months in designing this building and putting input into the building. We have conceptual plans still right now, and we're still redlining those plans. On September 11th, you will see the actual building and what it's going to look like on that date. So that's for the public's information, and we invite all of you to come down and see that, because it's going to be a very informative meeting, and it's going to be a very nice functional building.
Okay, before I close the meeting, we're going to be going into closed session, but also, is there anything that we need to do with the engineers?
I just want to say one.
Old business.
If I could just, and then I'll stop.
It's only work session.
Before we close the meeting, I see Mr. Hanley is here. He came in late, and there are a few things that I would like to inform the public of, and that's, of course, our prescription plan. The prescription plan is now available. Mr. Hanley, you have the application. I ask all of you to please come down to Town Hall. We have applications here, at the library, at the senior center. And of course, this is just a supplemental plan. And I know we want to get out of here, and we have, again, a state of emergency going on here in the township a little bit. But I will be going on the air of SBC TV and addressing a state of the township address, informing you of where we are, where we're going, and what we plan on doing, and some of the goals that we have. I'm going to be discussing mainly a lot of our drainage problems and what our plan is over the next and a few coming years. We have a number of issues that we're going to address, and we have prioritized, or I have prioritized those issues. And the next major issue that's facing the township, of course, is our drainage. And we are going to have to take it seriously. We're going to have to invest some money, and we're going to have to improve the drainage throughout this township. The engineer has plans available, starting with a phase that we are going to discuss, and that is coming down Bell Avenue and eliminating a lot of the easements that we have by the Garden State Parkway, which is causing a lot of a problem. We've analyzed and we understand that a lot of our problems are some big pipes going into little pipes, going into big pipes, and going into small pipes. These are things that are going to have to be corrected, and we do have plans from the engineer that we do have. I invite those residents on Bell Avenue or in that area or any area to please come down and look at those plans, and we are going to start to put together, I'm going to propose to the council within the next few months, a treatment plan for the township and start seriously addressing these issues that have not been addressed in 20, 30 years. Thank you.
I don't want to close session from the chairman. I just mentioned when I did some research since the last meeting, there was a mention of a hotel tax. That's not a closed session issue. The state will collect that, and you'll get it back electronically, like the state aid comes in 1% for the first year. I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
I'd like to make some comments before we go into closed session, please.
Just one second, I
Sure.
want to just ask the engineer. Jerry, did we need to do anything tonight? Because Tuesday, we looked at the plans. Is there anything that, like time-wise? Because of the,
No, you're talking about the recreation
yeah,
site?
is there anything that we,
No, the two boards are available in the clerk's office. I just need feedback as to which direction you want to go. And then what I'll do from there is I'll come up with a proposal based on that situation, and we can move. We can do that in September, I believe.
The problem that we have with that
right?
is going to be the grant. We don't want that grant to let expire. It's going to expire September 30th. Then the problem is that we cannot close this meeting. We're going to have to continue this meeting in order to analyze those projects, which one we're going to pick, and then take it from there and to see how we're going to spend the money. Because I don't want to be dealing with the state again on trying to get the money back. The state is clearly state. September 30th, money's gone. And I'd rather use it on something before the 30th, but we have to tell Jerry what are we going to do, what we're planning to do. As a matter of fact, all this is related to the closing that we just did on the property on Samson Street and Russell Lane. Finally, it belongs to the town. And we are trying to do the most beneficial things for all the residents in town. That's what we're discussing here tonight. So,
Okay. Well, I think, Eddie, you might have brought it up for the Tuesday. Extended meeting, or should we have a special meeting?
Well, we are going
We
to
have to
procure.
notify the paper for a special meeting.
And I think we should do that with them. Yeah.
Well, what we can do is just adjourn the meeting, and Pete can notify the paper that the meeting will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right from now until the end of the month, whenever it is.
Right. We could actually do
Like
it.
we do the budget meetings, just do the meetings as we do the budget meetings up until the 30th of September.
Why don't we pick a date tonight? The last week's
Whatever you
available.
want.
I'd rather have it advertised so we can.
I'm here next week, the week after I'm gone.
So we should not wait for any, please,
No.
we should not wait for anybody, but we should schedule meetings as often as possible. We all make it, we all make it. If you can't, we just go on.
Let's hope for next week.
And for the benefit of the public, they should know, and we, as we know, is the reason for this is because we just closed on that property a week ago. We were about 2 months delayed in the property closing. That's what caused us a little tight schedule. We're hoping to resolve a lot of this with the state so that we can utilize that grant money. A lot of that money is going to be procured anyway with the engineer, and we've been in discussions with that. So we have no intentions of hoping to lose that money, but I do recommend that we keep it open so that we can discuss it and make a decision as to what avenue we're going to take. The plans will be available in my office for you to view also.
Okay, is everybody available on the 19th for like 6 o'clock? 19th at 6 o'clock.
That's on the Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah.
The planning board? Does the planning board cancel their meeting in August?
Yes, no planning
So
board.
it should be open. Yes.
Okay.
So we can make it Tuesday.
Okay, so
Thursday.
we're going to advertise for a special meeting on the 19th at 6 o'clock, and it will be discussion on the recreational portion of
is
it.
it special? Or is it continuation?
Special?
It's extended, now that we have a date and time, we want to extend it.
Okay, we're just going to extend this meeting, but it'll be,
After that.
it'll be just discussion on 40 Sampson Street, which is our recreational area, and what some of the plans that we have to choose from our engineer.
And I may need to send a representative, I'm not sure I'll be available that day. I'll see if I can free myself up. It's the 19th, what time?
6.
Thank you.
You better make it.
Okay, think everything's covered?
Yes, no. I just first got to apologize to the residents I won't take much of the time because I know that we are on an ongoing emergency, and hopefully in the next 10 minutes we'll be out of here. 5-10 minutes we'll be out of here. And I didn't bring all the boards and the graphics. I believe that we owe an explanation to the residents, to the taxpayers in town. And even though that I wasn't part of the special meeting in which my colleagues approved the budget, or adopt the budget, I want to say, I would like to make some observations on that particular budget. And as I've been talking to our auditor, maybe next month there will be more in detail. I'm going to explain more. That we're going to have to do some chapter 159, which means that we're going to have to make some corrections to the budget. Sometimes are typographical errors, sometimes are just overlook. Maybe somebody overlook it. However, I want to just to touch real brief. And I first would like to start by commending the mayor on trying to put the town in the right financial track. We received the town in a chaos. Unfortunately, the public have to know the truth. The books has been cooked. The books has been fabricated. And I hope, and again, I would like to say, as far as I'm sitting here, I don't care who it is. I want that to happen, whether it's a political year or not, because we are elected right here by people to represent people, not to represent ourselves. We are the representatives of the union of taxpayers of the town. Therefore, I cannot allow anyone, at least under my watch, to let happen what happened in prior administrations. I still cannot understand how a town can be run without surplus. It was a $461,000 surplus in year 2002 that was carried over into zero into 2003, just for political purposes, just for an election year. And that is not right. So now I just would like to take a moment and trying to explain what the taxpayers are going to be expecting on the next tax bill. It's going to be brief, and I'm just going to try to explain to you that every house that have an assessment of $180,000 will be having an increase in taxes of $306. All right, just in the house with an assessment of $180,000. However, not necessarily is true, because on the numbers on the adopted budget, they defer 50% to next year from the referendum. Therefore, next year we'll be expecting from the get-go some tax increases from the Board of Ed. That we, the people, vote for it, and we just gotta pay it. But the people have to know also how we spend the money. How we spend the money is as follows. Of every $1,000, $600 of that $1,000, $600 goes to the Board of Education. $300 comes to the municipality, and $100 goes to the county. Now, we were able to just reduce this increase to an overall of 17 tax points. Don't confuse with percentages. 17 tax points, which 9 is coming from the Board of Ed and 8 is coming from the municipality. I would like to commend the county executive, Dennis McNerney, for the great job, even though that he reduced $79,000 from our taxes. For me, that's great. Instead of receiving, like we were receiving in the past, increases of 1 or 2% every year. Every reduction, it will help the homeowners in town because they need a relief. We here, the elected officials, have to work for the taxpayers. Of course, the town have to keep on moving, but we have to do our best. So I want to commend, once again, County Executive Dennis McNerney for the reduction of 0.7, which equals to $79,000. And also would like to personally thank Senator Caniglio and the governor for helping the town on $400,000. We haven't seen that type of check in a long time. $400,000 is more than 3.5 points. It helped us reduce your taxes, my taxes, everybody's taxes, and a lot of money. But then again, ladies and gentlemen, I would like just to be maybe more specific next month. Right now, we're going into an emergency. But once again, my doors are open. I know that a lot of you are contacting me. Feel free to just knock on me and I will go over in any specifics, any questions that you might have on numbers, budget, or ordinances, resolutions that I'm presenting. But that's my thing. I'm open. I don't want to hide anything from anybody. I want to do an open government and I just want to represent you. So once again, thank you to my colleagues, to the mayor, for doing what also was long overdue, to acquire Sampson Street and Russell Lane and not allow those 640 units coming into town because that it was going to create a chaos. Thank you very much and good night.
Okay, I'd just like to say in closing, by the time this is on the air, I'm sure the emergency will be over and gone. But for those that are here, let's try to keep those people out there tonight that are struggling to get home and get some air conditioning on, that they get home safely. Okay, thank you. Motion to close?
So moved.
Closed session.
Oh, motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Yeah.